Well, hello. I am Dr. Wilhelmina, and I bring you topics related to living well. There's always ups and downs, but we focus on living well. So today's topic is about love and trust of God and trust of yourself. So these days, all of my friends have been telling me I'm glowing due to love, due to a strong relationship. However, I believe it's my new skincare line. I'll make mention of that later because I'm not here to really talk about that. So, what happened? I met a beautiful man, and it was by surprise that I met this person. I wasn't looking for anyone, and your friends always tell you don't look for a man, don't look for them, just wait on God. When it's your time, it's your time. So, really, that's what I was doing, just waiting. I was frustrated with the situations that I was coming into, and they just weren't satisfactory for me. But let me say this today's podcast is just open, me talking, no big plan on exactly what I'm going to say. It's not scripted. So, bear with me if I get off topic sometimes. So, back on the subject. I met this man. And the story of how we met is a whole nother podcast. And I ain't get into that. But I will say that he is from Africa and he's actually from Gambia, the Gambia. And I've never dated a man from Africa. I've met some people or whatever, but not anything at all serious. So I had traveled to Ghana in December and got to actually see what Africa was about. Well, at least that part of Africa, because it's a continent. And there's many countries there. So in this country, I got to see beautiful things. I saw some poverty, yes, and some people struggling, and that was really hard to see. But for the most part, it was just a beautiful place. People are kind, generous, just open to us, and us by us I mean Black people, and open to everyone, but specifically to us. When you meet people, they always say, welcome home. And I think the word was wakba. I may be incorrect, but it means welcome. So it's all about welcoming us home, the whole group of my tour. It was about 40 people. We had a beautiful time. And shout out to Travel Divas for, you know, giving us that experience. It was beautiful. And so I was open to meeting a man in Africa because it was just a whole different flavor of how they react to women. It's open and able to talk about feelings and let you know I'm really interested in you. But the thing was, I'd already met someone else from Africa, and he was beautiful, open, talking about his feelings. However, there was one issue. First of all, I thought he was a scammer. Second, he's only 30 years old. I'm 59, if you didn't know. So that is a whole nother story to talk about at another podcast. But this one is specifically about trusting God and trusting myself. I got a lot of feedback from friends, family, people that are just concerned and want the best for me. And the usual feedback is that the person probably is a scammer. They just want a green card, and then that they watch out, be careful. Oh, and don't travel over there. And if you go over there, be very careful. Don't go alone. There was so much concern. It was overwhelming to the point where I stopped talking to people about that I am with someone that's in Africa and that I plan to visit. So, but sometimes it would slip out and I'd always get, I mean, I would say 90% of the time I get the warning. Or why Africa? Why not Africa? So I went on this trip. Fast forward. There's a lot in between of how I got there, but in trusting God or trusting myself, even, I thought, wow, this is scary. I'm planning this trip to go to Gambia, and this is scary. Am I doing the right thing? Listening to all my friends, family, and those concerned. Doing the right thing? Is this going to hurt me? Am I going to go over there and this person's not going to be who he said he is? Or is the family or friends, are they going to hurt me to try to help him, right? Because eventually, yeah, it's going to end in marriage. Let me just tell you, let me fast forward to the end. It's going to end in marriage. We're not married yet. So I did a lot of cautious things on my way to make sure that I was safe. I got a hotel. I didn't stay with them. I expressed the desire for prenup, and I would not get married over there. Marriage will happen here in Hawaii. So I was just determined that I was going to protect myself as best I could. So let's fast forward to me in Gambia. I arrive, and by the way, my fiance was totally open to anything and everything I had to say. So, and even that made me a little scared. But anyway, let's go back, fast forward. I arrive. He's exactly who he says he is. He looks exactly the same. His friend that was there, exactly the same. Everything. The whole plan was perfect. Went to the hotel, and it was beautiful from day one. Everything was exactly what it was supposed to be. And then I actually questioned myself, like, why didn't I trust? I talked to this man on video at least twice a day. I've met his family, his friends. I've talked to them, and we communicated well. And um, but still, I had this trust issue with myself, even. And so, but at some point before I got there, I was thinking, if it's my time, it's my time. I believe in God. I'm very spiritual. That's my higher power, and I believe. Well, He's got my back, and if something happens, it's my time. And that's what got me there because there was just too many people coming at me with craziness. So every day we had a blast. We went out sightseeing. We hung out with friends, his friends. We spent a lot of time alone together talking, talking about the future. And I'm going to tell you something. This man is exactly who he said he was. He's protective. He's loving. He loves me. He loves his family. He's all about his family and has no kids, no wives, and there won't be more than me. Just be me. So, anyway, this whole podcast, I wanted to come on and talk about, we live our lives scared because there's so much danger and things that happen even here in America. I could have met a man here in America and went through the same things that I was afraid about going to Africa. But these things do happen. So you do have to be cautious. You do have to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. But don't forget, you have a higher power. You have a daddy God that will look after you and make sure that you don't do anything crazy. Make sure you investigate everything you need to and put yourself in a place that you can be safe. But, even with that, God's got your back. And trust yourself, trust your gut, trust what you're seeing. Don't turn a blind eye to anything. Communicate, talk about it. Make sure you will have discussed it. So that's all I'm saying. Just trust God and trust yourself. And if you're seeing negative, then trust yourself. It's probably not something you want to do. But anyway, So I owe you an explanation on where I've been. I've been launching my skincare line, working on that, and I have a full-time regular job with the government. So it's difficult for me to do so many things, have my hands in so much. So I had to push back a little bit. But this friend of mine was doing her podcast, and I listened to him. I love him. Helen, no, I love your podcast, and it inspired me to get back to at least the podcast part of my communication with wellness. And so I appreciate all of you that listened. It won't be every week like it used to be, but it won't be too far apart either. So look forward to my podcast. And don't forget, shameless plug, I'm launching a skincare line, Good Skin Home. And I'd like to share it with the world. So let's see what happens. I launch in June. And thank you for listening to this podcast about wellness and about trusting yourself, trusting God, mental wellness, not putting yourself through so much fear and danger, thinking it's going to be danger because everybody comes from a different perspective. A lot of people come from a fear of living life, a fear of doing anything, cautious about everything. And I've been there, so I understand. This isn't criticism of them, but trust yourself and trust God. All right. I'm going to be done for today. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you all. Goodbye.